depending on where you are. My name is Chris Palmer with chrispalmer.org. So in this video, I have two main topics that I would love to cover with you. The very first topic is, should you attend SEO conferences? The second part of this video, what I will do is I will actually go through the strategies, the tips, the techniques, the actual presentation that I delivered, the message that I delivered here in India. But first, what I would love to do is I'd like to go ahead and answer a question perhaps that you have. Are SEO conferences worth it? Should you go to SEO conferences? And who am I? Again, I'm Chris Palmer. Why do I have any liberty to speak on this topic? Very quickly here, in case maybe this is the very first time that you and I have engaged with one another. My name is Chris Palmer. I own and operate chrispalmer.org along with too many sites to mention. Okay. I have a landing page at chrispalmer.org though. All right. With that said, I've also had the liberty and the, I've had the ability, luckily, thank everyone, to speak at SEO conferences like SEO Rockstars, Spring Training. I've spoke at WOS in the Philippines. I've been here in India. Looking forward to hopefully going to Chiang Mai. Lots of events I've had the ability to speak at. All right. On top of that, I've even held my very own event in Las Vegas called SEO Unfiltered. And Craig Campbell and I, Craig Campbell SEO, you can check out his channel if you'd like. We're looking to do this again. So not only have I spoken at SEO conferences, I've also held my own SEO conference. And on top of that, I've been to quite a few. All right. So I know the good, the bad, the ugly. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Let's talk about each of these three segments. First and foremost, let's answer the question, maybe why you've clicked on this. Is it worth going? In my personal opinion, I do believe that depending on your reason, there's actually a very famous book called Start With Why, right? The question really is why? Because for me, I generally, unless there is another reason to go, like I'm speaking, or perhaps I'm meeting a client, or I'm meeting a business partner, there has to be more in it than just an SEO conference for me, right? If I'm going to leave my business, my brother, my partners at home, my little Chris, if I'm going to leave little Chris and my business and I'm going to go somewhere for 4 days, 5 days a week, it's got to be worth it. And we're not talking about from a monetary perspective. So we can talk about that piece here. Is it worth it? All right. I think the number one element that people generally look for at an SEO conference, at first glance, it's probably tips or strategies or techniques or hacks. I do not believe that would be the number one reason to attend such a conference. All right. Like, I don't think that is the reason. In my personal opinion, I do believe that the reason to go to a conference, what's going on here? Is this dropping? The internet here is interesting. My, dude, this doesn't even work. I'm having a rough time here. I'm hoping that this stream is going well. I'm not 100% sure if it is or not. I'll probably break this video up. So let's just get out all the facts, and then I can worry about the way it looks or editing it at a later time. Before I do that, though, let's go. Let's go through this. Hopefully it's running well. I can't make a change now, unfortunately, because once it's on, it's on. So hopefully it's going well. Let me know in the chat quick before we go on any farther. Hey, dog, it says, I'm reading the chat here. That's an interesting way to go in. Hey, how is the stream okay? Because I'm in a recreation room here. So you let me know if it's going okay. I hope so. It's going well. Good. All right. So here, let's start from the very beginning, and we can worry about editing this later and making it more concise and a lot more to the point. First and foremost, is an SEO conference worth going to? In my opinion, let's start with the reason why. The number one reason for me to go to a conference is to interact with people. It's the connection of people. I'm from a lot of different places, but the number one thing is, there are skill sets and thoughts and ideas, and one conversation could lead to the next idea, right? I don't know how you look at things, but it's your one idea, one motion away from the next M, right? And you probably think the same way as me, right? Like you're one relationship, one conversation away from the next big thing for you, right? And when you're there, there's a special type of magic that happens because for me at least, right? I'm relatively introvert, you wouldn't know, but when you're with like-minded people, it's like one conversation after another, right? Oh, what are you working on? What are your ideas? Oh, what's working for you? And then to the next person, hey, what are you working on? What's good for you? What's working for you? Hey, how can I add this to my business? How can I go forward? What type of ads are you using? Are you using email? What type of AI? Oh, wait, what AI are you using? Like, it's like never ending. It's like it's a very interesting, it's very, very interesting. And I think that to answer the question, should you attend and is it worth it? If engaging with like-minded people is worth $2,000 to you or whatever the price is, then yes, it's worth it. And really, at the end of the day, if you're in some type of business, there's really actually no cost, right? As long as you're doing business, in order to go to a conference, your flights, your meals, your drinks, technically speaking, you can take that off the top when it's tax time, right? This is an educational event. It's for work, right? Now, for me, again, I don't know if you were joining me at the very beginning. For me to leave my business, for me to leave my partners, for me to leave little Chris, it's got to be something good, right? Like I'm speaking, I have an opportunity to reach a new audience or to go somewhere I've never been. I've never been to India. At the time, I never went to the Philippines, but when I spoke at WOS, I had such a great time in the Philippines. The people were great. The business was great. Food, I found out about Grab, so the food ended up being okay. The food, the internet, the people. Here in India, the food, I like spicy food. I'm a big fan of spice, so the food's good. The internet is lackluster, but I heard that it's fire everywhere else except for in this hotel. But I don't want to get into the weeds of individual conferences because everyone sees the same thing through different eyes. So don't take my perspective and the real question here is it worth going? If your goal is to meet people, like-minded people, be influenced by ideas and thoughts, and then have an internal urge of wanting to reach a next level or ways to intake or subtract ideas from others in order to implement them into your own business so you can succeed better for you and your family, then yes, SEO conferences are definitely worth it for sure. Now let's talk about it from a speaker's perspective. All right. Because I think I've came, full circle on, is it worth it for you as a consumer or as a buyer to go? If you're actually in business, there is no monetary cost. You're going to get that back at the end of the year, right? And if you're doing business, it's not really a cost. The information and the contacts that you make is worth the dollars. The dollars are worth it. But can you take the time to go and get influenced? That's the question. Is that why strong enough for you? Right? For me, that's my reasons. And that's why I think that it's an excellent use of time. And on top of that, Depending on where you're going or which type of conference that you're attending, there's generally a web presence, right? You can buy the digital version or you can attend live, but then you're missing out on the most crucial thing, which is the relationship building, right? Rapport can be built via Zoom, but it's not the same as live. When you shake someone's hand and you read and you speak to them eye to eye, it's a different type of connection, right? Enough about that. Let's talk about speaking. So I've talked to many people about speaking at conferences. And again, we all see the same thing through different eyes. When I talk to some people, their goal is to acquire eyeballs, yes, but clients. I'm not, like trying to reach multiple people's audiences to acquire clients. It's not how I look at it. For me, a conference is distribution, right? Again, it's, as I've learned from time, and I'm sure you know, it's all about rapport and building, I'm particular about whom I will consistently communicate with, only because of limitation of ideas and thoughts and time, right? I'm very conscious on, I could talk to people all day if I wanted to, but that's not where my goals are or my aspirations. My goals and aspirations are to set up the next set of polymers. That's it, right? How can I get myself in position to have something to pass? That's it. So my goal is distribution, right? Hey, here's who I am. Here's what I do. I might be able to do a million things better, but here's what I do and I do well, right? And being able to convey that to even more people is excellent. For me, it's not about customer acquisition. It's about having the opportunity to at least share some of my ideas and how I perceive things. Because again, we all see the same thing through different eyes, right? Also for me is I went to multiple events as a consumer, right? And as a consumer, when I went to these events, I realized that not everybody, but a vast majority of people are holding information for an upsell, right? Either that or it's really just a pitch masked as information, right? Me personally, I don't get down like that. That's not how I roll. I like fast, concise information very fast. I'm looking for what I'm looking for, right? So for me, if I'm going to do a delivery, I want to deliver what I know you want, right? And what you want is practical, actionable tips that you can take to the bank, right? That's what I'm looking for. So and then I want it fast. I want it fast. How do you actually know it or not? Right? Like, is this something recited or you read or do you know it? So I want to know. I want it fast. I want it concise. I want it to the point. I don't want any fluff, and I want it now. And I just want the things that are helpful. So that's for me for speaking. That's the goal. The goal is distribution and be able to share thoughts, because what I've noticed is like attracts like. So when you put out information in that way, that's how it comes back to you. Enough about speaking. All right. It's not a customer acquisition piece. It is, but it isn't. It's not about that. It's about putting out ideas in order to, how you put it out is how it comes back. All right. So that's that. All right. So speaking, is that worth it? I believe so. Yes. In my personal opinion, not only it's a way to engage in a conversation. I enjoy it immensely, right? And plus, it's fun. Like, I was an auctioneer. It doesn't bother me to be up on stage. Like that kind of thing doesn't bother me at all. Like I don't even practice it. Honestly, I'll even make the slides the day before it's about time, right? I spoke at a conference and I didn't even have slides. I just brought out the PDF files and just explained what I was working on at the time. Right? I do this. I'm either working on an asset or providing value to a client, a customer, a one-off, a white label, an affiliate. I'm doing it every day. I'm either testing or implementing every single day. So it's very easy for me to engage in this particular topic. You know what I mean? It's my whole life. It's 50% of my life. Moving on. The last piece here that I'll give you. Now, not everyone will have the opportunity. I hope that you're well. Mr. Lego Face, I like your that's a cool name, cool logo. I give you that. It caught my eye because it was like a mean face. And I was like, wait, who's this? Why? I don't like mean, I'm looking for smiles and bright eyes. Right? But in any case, do you run your own SEO agency or company with the help of others? And I would hope that, as the years progress, to always advance and get better. I'm always learning, always trying to get better and know, yes, I run the agency, but certainly not by myself. I wish. I'm good. I'm not that good. Yes. So in any case, Mr. Lego Face, because you caught my attention, yes, I run a SEO agency with the help of a team. Now we are a 14 and a half person team, 15 with me. We're looking to add on a few people. One of those people is going to be a LLM specialist for automation, but not the automation that you're thinking, the automation of process and reporting. One of the things that I'm the most worst at is nobody wants to talk to your team. They want to talk to you. And unfortunately, the people that rise to the top are the people with the hardest and the biggest and the most in-depth projects. They get first crack. In any case, with that being said, the last piece that I would like to touch on before I hopefully can share some more ideas with you, I'd like to share my presentation with you. And then I will chop this video up and move the presentation to the members only section. All right. Because it's not necessarily, it's available, but not for everybody. But if you're here live, I'm going to give it to you. All right. With that being said, the last piece, hosting and holding your very own SEO conference. Is it worth it from a monetary standpoint? No, not for me. See, when we held our conference, I at that time, I think I only went to 4. So I took the pieces that I liked and I took the pieces that I didn't see that I would want to see at a conference. What are some of those things? I wanted to be in a big place. So I picked Caesars along with my partners, Craig Campbell and Big Andy. We can't share his name because he's like the mysterious guy, right? But Craig Campbell and I and my other partner, Andy, and his lovely wife, we all got together and decided to do SEO Unfiltered. I wanted to do it somewhere big, right? So, I mean, I couldn't afford something crazy, but Caesar's Palace in the Grand Ballroom, in the Emperor's Ballroom, the biggest and the best in one of the best hotels. Okay, great. Bam, got that. The next thing I wanted was I didn't want just one meal or just snacks, right? Like, I like to eat, right? I spent a lot of time in my life at certain pieces of my life in my 20s, in my early 20s, not being well fed, right? So when I have the opportunity to eat like a king or a queen, maybe for instance, right? I'd like to take that opportunity. So I wanted good meals, but I didn't want just regular meals. I didn't want just snacks. I wanted 2 catered meals. I wanted a catered lunch. I didn't want sandwiches. I wanted 2 meals. Boom, got that. And then lastly, there's nothing better than, and again, we all see the same thing through different eyes, but one of the things that I like to enjoy, especially when I'm out and I don't have responsibility of children, I like to have a delicious beverage, right? Who doesn't? So I not only did I want to have a beverage, I wanted to have unlimited beverages. Boom, we added that. Catered meals in Caesar's Palace, 5-star, delicious. On top of that, in Caesar's Palace, and on top of that, we had 2 meals, unlimited beverages in one of the best places. 2-day event, I wanted to go and get the people that I really loved. So awesome people, awesome place, awesome food, and unlimited drinks. Boom. Now, was that a profitable venture? No, but I had a great time. So I think if it's better planned, for me, it's about relationships and experience, right? So if I lost monetary value in order to put on a good show, like we had a good time, we put on a good event. It was a great show. I got some of the best people. It was worth it. Now, I learned a lot of lessons from that, and I could do it very close to the same way, right? Like still do it in Caesars, but 1 floor down, right? Catered meals, but instead of having 2 top tiers, like we don't need 2 steaks. Let's do 1 steak for dinner, and then we'll do something good, but not cold cuts, And then on top of that, we don't need beverages for 3 days. How about just for the VIPs the first day, right? Like there's some things I could change in order to make it at least a break even. And then that was the other piece. I didn't want to charge somebody more than $500 or $600. When you start getting to $1,000, like that's a lot of money, right? Like you got to start thinking, like when somebody asks you for a stack or a bag or 1,000 doll hairs, right? I call them doll hairs. I got to start thinking like, And it was our first event. For me, it's always, does value exceed cost? Yes or no? So that's always my goal, and that was my mission. Enough about us. All right, let's move on. Chris Palmer fan has my logo and everything. I don't know if I like that. I love that you're a fan, but I don't know if I can permit that. But I love you nonetheless. But I can't. Moving forward. All right. So we talked about hosting, speaking, and attending. If you have any questions related to this, I would love to answer them for you. If not, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and pull out my presentation. Pull it out. I'm going to click a couple buttons here. We're going to grab my PowerPoint. In the meantime, if you have any questions related to the SEO conference itself, like attending, or maybe you have a question, something I forgot, something I didn't include. On top of that, maybe just attending, presenting, and or like speaking, attending, or hosting an event, ask me. I have a very unique perspective. This isn't my plan. These roads were already paved for me when I got here, so I'm just walking in the light. In any case, let's move forward. I'm going to go and grab a presentation. Just bear with me now. Give me 1 second. All right. All right. I'm just going over here. Ask your questions, though. I'm going to grab something. Yeah, but India, people are cool. I mean, it's just like anywhere, actually. Something I don't like, I won't I won't even say. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't like that the internet's slow. that's the main thing. Uh No, I'll be honest. You know what? Actually, you know what I don't like about this particular hotel is I don't like how they nickel and dime me. I don't like that. I don't um like I'm not any of the people from the event or any of the attendees, but the staff, like any little thing. Oh, you want a half of a sugar? 400 rupees. Oh, you need some tea? Now there's a couple great helpers here, but as an overall, oh my gosh, dude, like crazy, like how they, man, just nickel and dime, you know? Like, dude, if I want a cup of coffee, I mean, it's just a cup of coffee. Like, it's just wild to me. All right. Anyway, get your questions in. I'm sorry. But I did have a gentleman graciously complimentary this morning. Well, he asked me my room number, so I better go check. Uh, but he hooked me up with some apples and some food, and that was really gracious. In any case, moving on. How about this? Would I come back to this hotel? Never in a million years. But would I come back to India? Definitely. I had a good time. I had a great time, actually. Oh, I am kind of sad though. Um, I missed Kyle Roof's presentation. Now I have the recordings, and I got to meet him, and I got to talk with him, and that was cool. But I didn't get to see his presentation because it was first, and like my time zones are all jacked up. Like, dude, I woke up like 2 hours ago, and I'm like awake, and I'm like, what day is it? What time is it? Because you go online and it's like a day ahead, and then I'm checked. Like, dude, I'm like still spinning, dude. It's really strange, and if you've never experienced it, then it's hard to explain. I lost track of what I was doing because my mind was taken to a place of disgust from being nickeled and dimed. So it threw me off track. But what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the form here. I got it. I again was lucky enough to get a new computer before I left. So it's weird. Like the Lenovo's are strange. Like I'm an AMD guy. I'm an Asus guy. Um, I like Asus, and I buy AMD stuff. And I got this. It was like on sale, and I don't know if I'm feeling it. I might gift it to one of my helpers actually. Well, she's my cousin actually. I think I'm going to send this to my cousin. Is what I'm going to do. But don't tell her. What was I doing? Oh yeah. I'm waiting for questions too, by the way. All right, so SEO in India. We called it SEO in India. Now, there might be some slides or things that I don't even want to share here. I shared them in an ultra, in a closed environment, but I don't want to give up all of them. So I'll leave them in the presentation. I don't want to go through them or waste any time here. But if I skip over one, it is what it is. All right. It's just not something I want out there in the entire world. All right. But it is what it is. We can go to the slideshow in a moment here. You might okay, so here we go. All right, smiling face. Yeah. Good to see you, ladies and gents. What did you learn? Well, here, we'll go through these and see what's up here quick. Oh, did that happen? Did that happen to you guys, or am I the only one that sees that? Interesting. Oh, wow. I didn't even know that this did this. You can upload your slides to Restream. What a great piece of software. Wow. I'm just blown away. I can literally upload them in here. While that is happening, I assume, it's blocking my screen. Again, this is a stream. I'm going to chop this up in the videos later. Plus, I was bored out of my mind. I woke up. It was like early. Dude, like I don't know the time. Like the times are weird. The computer time is wrong. The TV time is wrong, and my phone doesn't work. It's weird, man. It's weird. It's a weird place. All right, this is taking too long for me. I have no patience for that type of thing. All right, cool. All right, hopefully this is looking okay. We'll go through these. You can see them on the screen already. Hey, dog. I'm going to pretend I didn't see that. I love the energy you're putting into your streaming journey, and it's awesome to see you grinding towards your goals. I wouldn't say it's grinding. It's literally the easiest thing I do in my day. This is fun for me, carry games. But yeah, anyway, moving forward, it's going well, live, okay. Hey, South Charlotte service, good to see you. SEO Dominator, SEO Crush. Okay, so here you go. Here, I'll answer these even though they're completely off topic. SEO Rush Map Tracker thoughts. I think that I built a map tracker. All right, South Charlotte services, and I'm not promoting it by any stretch of the imagination. But what I'm saying is this: when you have a grid, okay, I just want to put this into a small perspective, and then this can help you make your decision. See, pricing, in my opinion, wildly depicts the thoughts of the person that is selling the item. Okay. It's value and cost, my friend. You and I have talked numerous times. You know how I roll, right? So I want to put this into a perspective together. All right. When you have a grid, let's say it's a 10 by 10 grid. So that's 10 dots this way and 10 this way. There's 100 total. Okay. So that's a 10 by 10 grid. That's a pretty big grid, right? So let's just go ham. Let's go completely insane here. Let's just say, for instance, that we did 10 of these 10 by 10 grids. That's 1,000 dots, right? Now, each dot signifies, this is my wallet, signifies a person on their phone standing at a longitude and latitude, okay? And what I'm getting at here is to run 10 grids, that's 1,000 points. The cost for a developer is 15 cents. Okay? So that means that how many keywords do you have? Probably 5 to 10, right? So that would mean that if you ran 10 grids every single day, let's just say it was a quarter. Better yet, let's just say it was a buck. Let's say it was a buck a day to run 10 grids and have 10 of those grids, $1 a day. 7, 14, 21, 28. That's $28. Let's just call it 30 bucks. $30 a month would be a very fair offer. Now, let's talk about posting. Is the APIs, right? Are you giving permission to all of your contacts? Are you giving permission to your account and anything that's attached to your account, such as, have you ever signed up for Uber Suggest? You know what I'm talking about? You know how before it was free? You know how, like, when you go and submit, did you ever read the permissions? Right? See, as a developer, you're allowed to ask for anything you want. You can ask for anything. As long as you don't hide it, I can ask for anything that I want. And if you accept it, then you accept it. Okay? So, Is it $30 or less? Because that's a hard cost, because I have to either query a API of some sort and I have to get okayed by Google, right? Your cost is cheaper, but $30 a month would be the base point, 30 or less, right? And that's 10 grids a day, 7 days a week. Okay. I should be able to do 10 keywords or more per day, every day on auto. It should be able to email me. On top of that, does it have low amounts of permissions where I'm not giving away the farm? Not only do I have to pay the person, but on top of that, you want all my information too? Sheesh, you should be paying me. So that to me is a big piece, right? Because you're asking me about this SEO Rush Map Tracker. So the true question here is it $30 or less? Does it do automated posting? And if it does, can I do unlimited? Does it have a scheduling? And does it ask for limited permissions and only does posting? You're only giving up the rights to post onto that account. Okay. And when it posts, is it using a shortener of some sort? See, I was using this tool before, and when you post here and then you post to all of these, what they'll use is they'll use a CDN shortener to compress and then to host. So they don't give you a hard URL. They're giving you a CDN URL, right? And when you post those at scale, some platforms don't like that, like Reddit, for instance. See, if you're doing 3 a day, every day with these shorteners, you run into trouble. I'm not saying you're going to get banned or anything, but there can be a problem. Plus, I'm not getting the credit that I want. So how is it posting? Is it posting? What's the scheduling like? And is it $30 or less? And that will give you your answer, my friend. All right? I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I thought about this a lot because we wanted to enter the market with a product. And I wanted to look and see, well, what's everyone else doing? Right? Always. Is it cost effective, and does it do more for better? Does it do more cheaper? Yes or no? And then trust and integrity in the product is big for me. So, I learned those lessons the hard way. And that's why anybody that I can tell, I tell. Like, dude, you need to be very careful and conscious about this. All right. In any case. And again, I learned that the hard way, and that's why I tell anybody I can. So, sorry, off topic. No, it's no sweat, my friend. And then SEO Dominator. Eldar is a class act. All right. I haven't spoke to him personally in probably 2 months, but he's a straight shooter. He's a straight shooter. He's got a good product for a good price. I'm not promoting him, but as we're building our product, we have been piggybacking off of his. And he's a good guy. I think he's a straight shooter and he's got a good product. So I like this one. And then is SEO Rush. I can't. What I would never disparage someone's time, effort, and tool, right? But I can't say that I've used that tool specifically, so I don't want to say either way. Accuracy, you have to speak to the developer. Where are you getting the information? Is it a database, or are you querying Google? Are you using Google's API? And if they're querying the API, the developers are generally trying to double, triple, or quadruple their profits. So I don't know. It's up to you, my friend. No, I don't care that it's off topic. Do you need there? No, you need to be there. Absolutely. Okay. Best SEO on the internet. Keep it up. Thank you, sir. Do you run your own? We talked about that already. Hey, Chris, why don't you scale your agency to the next level? Still working on the things Why don't you scale your agency to the next level? You still working on things that you could give to someone else. Emma? What's scale? Thank you for your question, sir. Or ma'am. I'm not 100. But I'll say this. I think I've seen your name before, and I'm not one to, I don't ever share numbers and things of that nature because I'm not selling the sizzle. I sell steaks, right? Um, I'm not in that type of business. So with all due respect, how do you know what scale I'm at, right? um, but with that being said, there's been a massive shift internally with myself and my team. You know, it's not necessarily, see, we were very good at scaling. What I want to focus on, what I am focusing on in 2022 is more of an Amazon approach, right? Um, I do, without any shadow of a doubt, feel that end-to-end customer satisfaction is going to trump scalability and profit. I think that the long-term monetary gain and rapport and just the long-term benefit of scaling customer satisfaction is much, 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 much more important than a scaled agency that's reaching, month over month profit, right? In my opinion. I think fine tuning or crafting and having the best product for the best price and then an end to end customer satisfaction with a price that, see, I never liked charging because I'd never liked to get charged. I always was going into marketplaces looking who's got the best stuff for the best price. That's what I wanted. Because when you got the best price and you got the stuff sells itself, right? But what I've learned over time and what I wasn't valuing was the process and the end to end. Even in my own business, right? When I have a problem, let's say I'm working with Zendesk, right? Zendesk versus Freshdesk. Freshdesk beats Zendesk hands down. They got the price, they got the product, but what they don't have is that end-to-end satisfaction. And that end-to-end satisfaction is worth more, in my opinion. Like when I have an issue and I click the button and it's resolved, I trust that they have my best interest at heart. And I think that that's valuable. So that's what I'm more focused on. And, to the scale, I again, we all see the same thing through different eyes. I think my goal of scale and your goal of scale could be different. I don't know. But I'm in the SEO service business. How big could we get? I've talked to very large SEO agencies. Like, what's big? 40, 50, right? Like, I don't see a hundred a year business doing SEO services. But there you go. Moving forward, for the watching, went from 5 to 10 rankings to 1 to 3 just from following Chris's video. Thank you, sir. Just recently joined the GBP program. 2025 looks glorious. Looking forward to working with you. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And yes. Yeah. I'm a little behind because I went to India, but we're looking to do the end-to-end managed. We're going to cut off a lot of services and just implement more managed services, and also play around with pricing. So yeah. I would like to run the biz dev arm and would like to sit down and talk to you regarding that. The one and only Mr. Lego Face. Lol. My friend, book a time. Book a time. Yes, you attend. Hope that helps. I hope so. You're the best. God brings you love. Yes, sir. Delete it later. Okie doke. This is a fan of sorts. I'm not sure who that is, but that's okay. I love you anyway. Hey, Chris, thoughts on maps pins for rank and rent? Chris, what laptop did I use? It's a Lenovo 8000 series Ryzen 8. I don't know. It was on sale. Hey, Chris, thoughts on map pins for rank and rent? Map pins for rank and rent. If you could scale them. If you can scale them and manage them, then I think that they could be an exceptional way for rank and rent. But again, rank and rent is not my personal cup of tea or expertise. So I, take my thoughts on that particular implementation with a grain of salt. As far as utilizing map pins for, say, a business that wants to acquire more proximity or, be able to take up more area within their market, definitely an effective strategy. Shuttle bus wives. That's my mammy. She was sick as a dog. Hopefully she's feeling better. Glad to see you. Yes, offline. I don't know what that means, but okay. It is agency is making posts on SEO forums with an account named Is My SEO Company Powerful? Does the same thing work for Reddit posts? AstroTurf things like what's the best web designer in Hamilton? All right. For the forums, I don't think the forums are going to see the light of day. Reddit is having a run right now because they were acquired, right? I mean, their traffic has been sent to the moon, right? And I think they're having a very special time right now. I also want to let you know that on Robinhood, when Reddit IOP'd, I bought 2,000 shares. I'm very happy with their ROI right now. I thought that it would go, but I didn't know it would go like this. I wish I was more sure of myself, and I would have bought 100,000 shares, and I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Little Chris and I would be sitting in a hammock on the beach because I would have jumped out so fast their heads would have spun. But in any case, moving on, I'll answer this question. So, as far as the name is concerned, I wouldn't go with an exact match because the profile will be scrutinized from the very beginning. If you want to add a partial or add in an LSI of a primary term, right? Like Chris Palmer - search marketing, that could be a great profile, but is that the same name that's being utilized also around the web on, say, LinkedIn, on Pinterest? Is that your actual name, and is it vetted and verified so we can show up with an AI, right? Like, is Google's AI going to slurp that up like 7-Eleven Slurpee? Yay or nay? That name, that profile, that authority factor, or that figure needs to be associated to those things across the web. Okay? So the name can play a part, but it's not the only part. All right? Hopefully you're following me on this. So with that being said, if you can build a persona around that particular name and be authoritative or have expertise in that particular field, and you're found around the web, then yes, it can help with your overall search engine optimization. Yes, absolutely. Because Google is putting a lot of emphasis on discussion and social based opinion right now. Now that could go good or bad depending on who has the power. All right. Really, it's time and dollars is how you take care of that type of thing. All right. Moving on. Is Agency Assassin worth it for an SAB? No business showing. Not in my opinion. I if if you had 100 businesses all lined up next to each other and we were working on them, if I had 100 businesses showing address and 100 businesses not showing address, I would perform 95% of the time better with businesses that actually have a center point. Why? Because there's more interactions that I can provide. There's more conversion actions that can be performed. On top of that, I'm able to, not everyone has this ability. Agency Assassin does not have this ability, right? There's other gentlemen in the marketplace that have this ability. I think they've productized it. I'm not 100% sure. But we have internally productized this. So if I was using Agency Assassin, which we do, would I utilize that along with being able to perform a driving request, not click the button, have a center point and go to the location? Along with that, run impressions? Yes. So there's two pieces that agency doesn't have yet, right? But do I think that it's good for an SAB? No. Do I think that it's good for a business that is showing an address? It's better than not using it. But do I feel that the association of Agency Assassin along with more process could be wildly beneficial to your overall campaign? 1,000%. 1,000%. And do I know somebody that offers such a service for such a low cost it'll blow your mind? I do. I know that guy. But you're a fan, so you already know that. I love you, man. I assume you're a man. If you're a woman, my apologies. All right. When I was checking chats, I was uploading my screens. Dude, are you kidding me right now? Please do not do these things. I don't like Ryzen 8 core. Backyard Revival, I have no idea. There's a sticker. See? Okay. See it? I don't know if you can see it. There's a sticker. I have no clue. I walked into Walmart. I was looking for what's the cheapest one that you have that's a refurb? And they took me to the cubby and I said, okay, out of all these that are here, I want the cheapest ones that are not Intel. Okay. And there was 3. I looked at them. And when I looked at them, at the time, I looked at the CPU, the hard drive, and the RAM. The RAM, when I looked at it, there were some that were DDR4 and the others were DDR5. So I was like, okay, I put down the DDR4s. I went to DDR5. Then I saw some, and there were 4-core and 12-core. I was like, okay, or 8-core, 4-core, and 12-core. So then I got rid of the other ones, and I was like, okay, I got this 8, and I got this. Then I was like, all right, well, which one's got a bigger hard drive? And that's this one. And poof, I had a flip in my decision. Literally, that was my thought process. I don't know if you caught that or not, but I was looking for the best product for the best price. Oh, it's funny. I'm a funny guy. I just crack myself up all the time. Hey, Chris, best advice to give to a 20-year-old guy trying to figure out his career. 20 years old. 20 years old, huh? Wow. Well, Let me think for a second. Give me 1 second. There's 3 things I know I would definitely steer clear of: greed, women, and drugs. If I was 20 years old, I would skip over the puff. I would not be seeking to finalize my life, like get married or find a partner at that present time in my life. So women, the the wacky tree, steer clear of that. And the alcohol. So with those 3 things out of the way, we can start focusing on career path. Advice to a 20-year-old Chris. If you were little Chris, what would I tell you? Other than what I just mentioned, see, you're too young to know what roads are going to open. So, in my opinion, I would definitely, without any shadow of a doubt, keep a very open mind, because as you're walking down the path, what you'll find is that doors open as you're walking. You want to let as many of those doors open for you as possible, and then make your decision. Now, remember those 3 things that I mentioned to you in the very beginning: the women, the puff, the boozing. See, that brings a certain type of person and energy. When you're carrying that type of energy with you, right? Any of it, any of that type, right? See, are you focused on now, or are you focused on tomorrow? So I think keeping the mindset of today doesn't matter, it's about tomorrow, is going to be in your very best interest as a 20-year-old man. Let as many doors open as possible. I would not make a decision now. It feels like you're 20 and it feels like you're behind and you feel like other people are getting in front of you. But another 20 years is going to fly by. And what you don't want is, you don't want to get halfway down a path 2 years, 3 years in and have a change of perspective, right? So patience, take your time. Don't choose anything right away. Steer clear of anything that's tension relieving and not goal achieving. And most of all, have fun. But without those things. But yeah, I think it's too early to make a decision on a career path. And I'd rather be broke and work for me than have a salary. Another thing as a man, or at least internally as a man, I never want to have to rely on another man to catch a dollar. Now, I know when you have a business, that's what you're doing. But I don't like having a force over me, right? I like having the discomfort of needing to achieve, right? It's written, a man must toil in dirt, right? So I think that's as good of advice I could give. I wish you the best, my friend. I have lots more, but this is an SEO channel. I've learned lots of lessons in time, but it is what it is, and this is an SEO channel. Are you Dubai already, mate? Steve, not yet, dude. Not yet. Not yet, my friend. Thank you for a response. Yes, Google will slurp my slurpy notes out. Dude, I would love Google. Oh man, we must know each other. Because that's hysterical. Uh, oh my gosh, you wrote that in that way, knowing that I would think that that is just wildly entertaining. Also, congrats on Reddit stocks. I didn't even know they went public. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Little Chris got Jordans. Uh, Site wide, okay. Theme today's episode: Chris likes the best deal and provides the best deal. Sometimes. Well, I like the best deals and I try to give the best deals, but that's not necessarily the theme of today, but somewhat. I meant to say somewhat. Knocking doors until we'll open. Yeah. Well, I, if we're speaking in parables, we don't want to knock. I do believe that energy attracts energy. And I do definitely believe that as you go on, it will come to you. And then backyard rivals. Let's see this. Haha, I'm 28 and spent probably 18 and 26. Yes, you're better off without that junk. That's wise words. Very wise words, sir. It's quite a long time, my friend. 100% best advice: don't work for another man. Don't have a boss. Well, there's many bosses, right? Nobody is going to be harder on you than you, right? So you have a boss in here and up there. And if depending on your relationship status, you might have another type of boss. I don't know. But yeah, hey, let's get into the talk. I went through all the questions now. What we're gonna do now is I'll deliver the strategies that I went over in my chat. All right. So without any further ado, here, let's turn this off. And we'll go through the talk. Do these slides look familiar? Well, they should. I changed the color, though, from blue to a blackish steel blue. I think that's what it's called, steel blue. In any case, my name is Chris Palmer with chrispalmer.org. Soon to come is grayhatseo.com. Why gray hat, Chris? Of the names, you could have went any different way you wanted. You literally could have been anything else. Well, Gray Hat SEO, I mean, think about it. There's 3 types. And we wanted to be transparent from the very beginning with our culture. And our culture is very simple. We are looking to achieve results by any cost without crossing the line. grayhatseo.com. In any case, that's on its way. Mobile proxy farm, we're looking to expand that, more locations. That is growing. I have education, courses. We do testing, consulting, white label services. We do affiliate. Dashboards are on the way for white label. You can have our products and put your stamp on it. We'll have managed, full service, a la carte, affiliate, white label, consulting, courses, education, and a mobile proxy farm. If that wasn't enough, a mobile proxy farm. Enough about me, though. I do believe that it's completely irrelevant, the messenger, right? What you really want is the information. So I'm going to share some of this information with you. And I want to give you a brief overlook, an overstanding of what I'm delivering here. All right. What I am delivering here is going to be testing and test results from live clients or from closed network environments or from what I call donors. Donors are websites and or Google business profiles that are live and active but are underperforming and out in the wild, just waiting for me to test on them to see if I could bring them up, or in some cases, a lot of cases, 50% of the time, down, right? The tests that I generally deliver are positives, but there's so much testing that is done that doesn't make it to a PDF because it wasn't a positive. It's not worth sharing, right? it was a negative factor, but if it's a significant negative factor, then I make it into a test. With that being said, these are tests from real live clients or real live donor accounts. All right. So this is up to date. Most of this testing is from late 2024. It is now January the 13th of 2025 when I'm delivering this talk with you. The very first test that I would like to share with you is, does interacting with your Google business profile, does it actually increase what matters? What is a interaction, you ask? A interaction, or wait 1 second here. There you go. Oh, wow. Is it purple? An interaction is any type of engagement with your profile. This could be a profile view, a review view, a directional request, a call button. They looked at your photos. That any interaction is counted. But the only thing that matters to your customers or to you, if you're a business owner, right? If you're an agency owner or a freelancer, the only thing that matters to your customers, or if you're a business owner, the only thing that really matters is calls or actual, whatever your KPI is, right? So I wanted to know is, when we're performing these actions, does it actually help what matters? The phone calls. Because it's one of the only trackable ways to measure actual dollar flow, right? Because if I'm increasing my phone calls and I got 100 phone calls and I have a 70% close rate, how did we do this month? We did exceptionally well. Moving on. So on the left-hand side, what you're seeing, and I'm not sure if this is mirroring or not because this is a live stream. This presentation is brought to you here on Chris Palmer SEO. But what we're looking at here is on the left-hand side, the 2,317. This is where the interactions were started here. All right. I put some arrows there. With that being said, I wanted to point out that there was a large spike of engagement. When we take a look at, and that's overview of interactions on the profile. When we look at the exact same dates, but we only look at calls, you can see that there is some fluctuation here, but the largest amount of fluctuation was after our campaign. So in this particular test environment, on this particular profile, did the overall interactions increase phone calls in the following month of the campaign? Absolutely. They increased an exceptional amount, right? Quite significant. Another test though, because oftentimes inside of the testing group, even if we're only sharing one test, I test things, it has to make it 3 times. We test things 3 times. If I get the same result 3 times, it's gospel, right? In my book. On top of that, I'm not a huge fan of, I retract that. I digress on that statement. I'm a fan of single variable testing. The concept, the idea is excellent, but what's more valuable to me is when we have other factors at place, is the thing, the test, the implementation, the strategy, the technique, is what we're doing actually effective in the market, in the world? Does it work? If it only works in a closed environment, like how big the factors it's measurable, yes, but it wasn't measurable against all other factors that are fighting against you to make money online, right? So if it doesn't work in the wild, then it's not worth it for us. So that's why a lot of our tests, you're either in the camp of single variable or in the wild. I think that you can get value from both. But for me, I like in the wild testing. I'm looking to see if there's a result with other factors at play in real world scenarios, if not on a client, but in a closed way or using a donor, right? So that's that. With that said, we have another interaction profile. We're looking to see, again, the interacting on the profiles, the overall interactions, interacting with the photos, interacting with the profile in numerous ways. That could be photos, reviews. The interactions of the profile. Does it boost what matters to the overall customer, to the client, to your clients, to us? Again, we boosted up our interactions in May on this particular profile. It was a gradual increase. We cut this particular campaign. This is a different profile, but we started working on this profile in March. You can see the consistent increase of engagement over time. Again, we've already talked about that 3 times now, but March was the end piece of our campaign. I'm very sorry. May was the end cap. And we wanted to know, after we run through this account, right? Like after we perform what we're performing, do we see positive improvement for what actually matters to the client? We ended our campaign in May. The following months after that, we saw a significant increase in phone calls, right? So does overall interaction on the profile, does boosting your interactions, does being perceived as more of an authority online for your keyword and keyword sets and your phrase matches, right? Like getting more interactions on your profile leads to what actually matters. And the answer is yes, it does. Does adding custom services boost your Google business profile rankings? Now, what I'm going to outline for you here, I talked about this in another conference, but it, again, was very monumental to the overall way that we engage with profiles, okay? Like I mentioned before, I'm very good friends with Ian. Ian and I have been partners for years now, okay? So yes, we use agency, but there's 2 additives that we provide to the profile that isn't just agency. And what those 2 additives are actual directional requests led by somebody driving to the location using their cell phone. Google perceives a human being driving to the location. On top of that, interactions in the profile does not necessarily mean, for it to be counted, it does not mean that somebody interacted with the profile and actually clicked or did what is called a conversion action. Conversion actions do not have to be implemented in order to progress or to increase the overall rankings of a Google business profile. In fact, I know this without a shadow of a doubt, and this test was the very first test in which we started to learn how to properly run what is called impressions. An impression is when you are engaging with Google, whether it's Maps or on desktop, in regular search or whatever product, even in Gmail. When there's an interaction within the profile, as long as you load at least 30 kilobytes of a page, Google is tracking that action. There's no question in my mind. If in a session enough of a page is loaded, then whatever interaction was produced can positively and sometimes negatively affect the overall performance of a Maps listing or even a website. With that being said, the reason why I shared this in 2 presentations is simply because this was the first test when we realized that the association of entities, people, places, and things included inside of our strings. People have been, there was a guy back in 2005. His name was Jensen. He's been manipulating map strings since forever. This is not a new concept. How we advanced, or how I advanced, and how I was able to apply benefit to my customers and clients was by understanding how Google perceives those URL strings and how they're counted from sessions. That is new. Playing with the strings and the stick parameters, like, that's cool. But understanding what is in those stick parameters and what a session is and how Google is counting a session, that took me 2 years to figure out. And one of the first tests where I was like, aha, I got it, is this test that I'm going to share with you right here. All right. I had my slides messed up. I grabbed the Google Slides, not the PowerPoint. I edited the PowerPoint. I apologize. Here, we'll talk about this one, and then we'll get into the really fun one. Does adding custom services boost a Google business profile? All right. I have to retract what we just said. Let me see. I'm going to edit this later, but here we'll get right into it. All right. So with that being said, I would like to share with you this particular test. So what we've learned, and when it first dawned on me, was with this particular test here. Does traffic to topics, entities, improve your overall maps rankings? One of the first tests that made this dawn on me was we were playing around with the reviews. Inside of this test, in the reviews, what we noticed is up at the top, they were associating entity, I was calling them entity bubbles, right? That's what I called them. I guess I coined entity bubble. I knew they were entities. I knew they were giving extra weight. But when I realized that they were actually be given Firebase codes, and they were in a database, and also in that database is your G code. So your website is an entity. Images are entities. Locations on a map, which are given M codes, are entities. All right. Topics within your reviews are entities. Topics or particular words inside of your posts are entities. Any URL that includes an entity is looked at as having more weight than a regular manipulated URL when on Google. With that being said, it's one thing to have a URL. It's another thing to have people engaging with that URL. But what a session is each time you have a fresh, let's say, mobile IP address with a logged in browser that browser is also from a particular location. This particular location, what we're looking at is Atlanta. So let's just say, for instance, that you have an account from a persona, a user that lives in Atlanta, that frequents Atlanta. How do they frequent it? How does Google know? Because your phone is in your pocket, logged into your account, and they track everywhere you go. Okay? So they know where we've been. They know where we live. They know how old my account is. And we've even given them extra information. We've given them every information under the sun, right? We have perfected the personification of a profile. Okay? With that being said, I'm giving you the pieces to produce the result, because it's not like, oh, if I run a bunch of traffic to these URLs, I magically rank. No. I have a mobile proxy. That mobile proxy is tied to a persona. That persona is tied to a location. That location is tied to a person that frequents, his name's Joey. Joey likes trucks. Joey is a regular guy. He goes to this corner store a lot. He goes to these particular restaurants. He's from Atlanta. He's also a music producer. He's whatever the client in that location has. That's what Joey does. I hope that makes sense to you. With that being said, to better outline or to finish off this test, when we realized the usage of particular URLs that were including entity IDs, and we realized that interaction with the URLs that are generated only in particular parts of the web, right? Like when you click on one of these topics, it produces a URL that includes an entity ID. When I interact with that URL that's naturally produced, I get a lift. When I interact with URLs that don't have that type of URL or an entity ID, I don't get the same lift. Wait a minute. These entity URLs are the URLs that produce a result. Well, what if we just force those entity URLs into Google? What happens? You get a result. And that is what we learned here. All right? The secrets are hiding in plain sight. And this was when it first dawned on me. And I think this particular test, this is an old one. This is from 2022. by the way. All right. So with that being said, we'll go back. And yes, entity URLs affect overall rankings. That also proved out that impressions sent to the right URLs or to the right place produce a result. All right. Now, these URLs change over time, but entities and the stick parameters and which URLs matter do not. All right. So, with that said, all right, and no, it's not a magic ticket. To use parables, all of the stars still need to align. Like your business still needs to be old. You still actually need to have a business. You still really actually need other users. You still need to have your photos. You still need to be filled out. Having a 360 is a good idea. Having a Google account's a good idea. Having a business Google account's a good idea. Having a website that talks about what you offer is a great idea. And if it's as old as your Google business profile, that's even better of an idea. Like doing good SEO is still required. But if you're doing good SEO and someone like me comes along, I'm throwing gasoline on the fire. And that is what I would like to just state. All right. It's not that I've uncovered some magical hack. I've just been able to figure out how to reach success faster, easier, and cheaper by utilizing these types, what I call impressions. All right. So with that being said, will Google rank? Oh, I don't know if I want to share that one, but here. Let's get back to this particular result here. All right. So we have another test here, and this is adding custom services. Now, I think that this is absolutely hysterical because I had a gentleman online. Remember, this is members only content, so I'm just going to say what I feel, but I made a video and I utilized a image from a public blog post, right? And this pencil neck, is that a bad word? This gentleman copy striked my video for using a public image. Can you believe that? I was appalled, to say the least. But I also learned a lesson. I learned a valuable lesson. I learned a lesson. Okay. But with that being said, I utilized an image. But this gentleman made a video. This is a very widely known SEO forum. SEO forum and blog. And what they were touting and made numerous videos, ran ads all over everything, was that custom services boosted Google business profile rankings. And at the time I was like, do they? Are you sure? So we went to the drawing board. Actually, a friend of mine, his name's Reese, great guy. He has a tool with another friend of mine. His name's Ron. Ron has a channel on YouTube called Rod Osborne SEO, I believe. Again, these are guys that came in my group. They were brand new to SEO when they entered the group. Great guys. In any case, check them out. But Reese was gracious enough to let us test some of these ideas on a old account that he had. So with that being said, we're looking at RJ Tiling. This is a business in Australia. He's from Australia. Again, they're both from Australia, actually. Good guys. They're great guys. Check them out. With that being said, I want you to feast your eyes on the left-hand side. What you're looking at is the before. And if you look up at the very top in this tool here, it's not a promotion. People know what these tools are, and then they ask me. I'm just using it. Like they could have been adding a promotion at the time. I was testing out the tool. Like if I'm utilizing something, it doesn't necessarily mean that I feel it's the best. It was whatever I was using at the time. All right. So with that being said, this is Local Falcon. Local Falcon's a decent product, but they're old school, right? There's much better out nowadays. With that being said, this is Mosaic Tiling Contractor. Mosaic Tiling Contractor is a custom service type. So we did a before, and then we waited an entire month and we did an after. Now you're looking at these grids and you're saying, Chris, I don't know. That top left one and that top right one are really catching my eye. I don't know if it's moving. And maybe that is correct. But feast your eyes up at the top here. You'll see something called ARP, ATRP, and SOLV. This is so SEOs like myself and perhaps you can look and say, hey, I wonder if I'm doing better. You look at the numbers and you say, wait a minute, SOLV went from 8.16 down to 6.12. Wait a second, ATRP went from 514 to 580. Wait a minute, ARP went from 514 to 548. Man, this business is actually losing rank. Something I did not include in this, right? Test, because I believe at the time it was a live profile. I know that the profile is gone now. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. But here's what we also learned from this particular test. And here's another fun fact. That much larger than me. I'm a 15-man team. That particular business, after I released my video, took down the old video and changed their content in order to reflect from my testing. A day later, they changed everything and said, oh, no, what we learned from this is that, initially custom services are going to help you, but then after some time, it'll drop you and it can potentially hurt the rest of your website or the rest of your Google business profile, which is true, right? But the audacity that they took to harm me and what I'm doing, I'm actually trying to help, right? Like, I don't care about you or anything you're doing. Trust me. I just needed a picture. With that being said, I digress. I'm very sorry. All right. That fired me up though. I don't even look up from my desk to look at another person so that somebody would have the audacity to do that to me. Unacceptable. In any case, what we're looking at here is a dip in overall performance. And no, it did not produce a positive result, maybe a little bit in some areas. But what we really noticed from this test that's not here because it was an active client at the time is that when we added custom services, because we added more than one, this is just one that I had for the test to showcase to you today. But what we learned from adding custom services is not only some of them might have done well, but after 30 days, they all fell back down. But what really stunk about this test is that our primary service, where we were number one across the board, started to fall. So temporarily, Google rewarded us with those services. So you might even go in there and change them and add more. But what happened is, yes, we might have got a significant increase. In this case, barely anything at all. Actually, we went down. But in other cases, we went up temporarily. But what ended up happening was our primary services that were there for a year plus fell. And that's a problem. So, with all that being said, does adding custom services boost Google Business Profile? Yes, temporarily. But you're running risk of hurting the overall performance of your profile and what you already have established in order and in the light of chasing a temporary lift. It's not worth it. It is not recommended. Let's move on. Do G-Stacks help Google Business Profile rankings? I get this question a lot. All right. I wouldn't say I'm the king of G-Stacks. I would give that to Semantic Mastery and them gentlemen over there, right? I think that Dr. or Robert, I can't think of who, was one of the first people that I heard it from. And then, of course, I palmered it, right? Like, I was all over that. I was like, wait, what is this? Like, I was testing before I even said I was testing, right? Because I was like, wait, how can I make this better? How can I do it cheaper? And can I sell this to my guys, right? Like, not just a training program, but we were looking to make dollars. Like, I was still in the, not the real estate space. I was in the timeshare space at the time. Like, we were looking to earn, right? So with that said, do G-Stacks help with Google Business Profile rankings? Now, I think it's small enough where you can't read all of this. I work closely with a good friend. I won't put him on blast here, right? But what I will say is that you're looking at 150 Google Business Profiles and or Google Business G-Stacks, right? AKA an advanced G-Stack. With that being said, this particular 130 or 150 are single service, single location Google Business Profiles. There's one service. They only do one thing in one area, oftentimes in a small city. Along with this, we're doing 1,000 directories and 60 to 150 citations. Now, there's structured and unstructured citations. So we'll do 50 structured. The rest are unstructured citations. And then we generally do 1,000 directory listings. We'll list them all over the place. And then we run a low-cost, less expensive press release. All right? Like a small distribution, not a global newswire. All right? Not a Cision, not a PR Web, not a EIN newswire, like not the stuff that, sells for $300. No, a smaller distribution. All right. 500 links, inexpensive stuff that we sell for $30. All right. With that being said, out of this 130 that you're looking at, 100 of them is ranking in the map pack, usually number 1, 2, or 3. Every single one that's in this particular lineup is ranking. That's how they made it to this folder. Okay. So, do G-Stacks help GBP rankings? I left off a little bit. It's not that I'm trying to be disingenuous because I explained everything, I hope, clearly. But if you follow good, in my opinion, just a regular local SEO strategy, citations, directories, and a PR is nothing. I mean, this is 101 stuff. If you follow basic principles along with the G-Stack for single service, single location, we got 100 out of 150 or 100 out of 130. I didn't count them up. I think there's 130 here. All right. And that's map pack. Top 10 is everybody. Top 5 is probably everybody. All right. This is no traffic. We're not running traffic. This is single service, single location businesses. Do they work well in this particular aspect? Yes. Now, I have another folder where we're doing multi-location or multi-service, and it didn't make it to the slides, I'll tell you that. We no longer, for multi-service or multi-location, we do not offer G-Stacks as a service for that type of business because they do not work. All right. It's ineffective. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. I don't sell it. I don't even sell it. If I get a single service, single location, I have a partner and we work on this together. All right. In this particular aspect. And the deal is very clear. We take care of citations, directories, and PR, maybe some CTR. Often 90% of the time we don't. And then they take care of the G-Stack for me. All right. And that's how that negotiation works. And that's how it works very well for that. Do entities rank pages? I'm going to skip over this one. But this was also a time in our testing that a huge epiphany landed. But I will give credit where credit is due. So I'm part of a lot of other groups. And most notably, I follow a gentleman that I really love, and his name's Ted Kabitis, right? Ted and Clint Butler, Kyle Roof, that whole camp, right? I love those guys. They're great guys. And they actually know what they're talking about, right? So with having respect in that conglomerate of people, there is another gentleman. He does plumbing. Now, I don't think he's that public, so I don't know if I want to put him on blast, but he has a SEO training program. A friend of mine paid a significant price to be in that group, and I went through the training. In that training, even though there wasn't a massive amount of actual live results, there was one thing that stuck out more than others, and that was entity usage. Okay? Anytime I go through a program, a course, a training, a Facebook group, anytime I hear anybody that, even if I think they have an inclination of any credibility or trust, well, I'm going to go and test what they're saying, right? Because that's how I am. So with that being said, in 2023 is when we took this test. We or the end of 2022, 2023. I won't go through it. But those colors, that's an old testing platform. And what we learned was you could actually go to GitHub and get their testing algorithm and make your own. What we did is we loaded it up with LSIs and entities, or what we thought were the entities in the co-occurring key phrases at the time, utilizing TextRaiser along with another API and some wiki. I can't even think of it at this time. I'm not a developer. I had somebody help me create that. In any case, what we did is we pulled two pieces of content. It's very clear by looking at colors. The left-hand side is the ranker. The right-hand side isn't. Anything that's red and purple is an entity or a co-occurring key phrase. All right. Entity usage and co-occurring key phrases at higher densities led to higher rankings. And this is the test that brought it to light for me. And this was back in the end of 2022 or early 2023. I can't remember which. It may have been at the beginning of 2022. I don't know, but I digress and we'll move forward. The gentleman's name is, oh my God, I want to give him credit. Oh my gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, T, U, V, W, W, Wes, what? Warren. Oh my gosh, dude, it's going to drive me crazy, dude. I have to give this guy credit, dude, because he's the one that got me hot on the scent, and I want to give him credit for it. And I want to thank you. Also, you're probably not in my group and you'll never see this, but I want to thank you anyway. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's going to drive me crazy. IMG. Oh, internet. No, how about SEO Fight Club? Oh, this is Ted Kabitis' channel, by the way. If you've never saw it before, I highly recommend it. Like, I highly, 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 highly recommend it. Great guy. I mean, I don't know how fresh he is in the game, but that doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if he's doing it every day. Like, every time I listen to Ted and I implement the stuff that he says, almost every single time it's gold. So I have to give him kudos. There's the guy right here. I don't know his name. See this guy in the red hat? That's the dude right there. And look I'm in this video. I can't think of the guy's name, but that dude right there. I can't think of his name. It'll drive me crazy, but that's the guy. A friend of mine went through his training. He put us onto it in 2021. We tested the dog bananas out of it, and it was gospel. So there you go. And thank you, kind sir. You've helped me. Moving forward, will Google rank authority? Dang, what is that dude's name? I keep Wes? Randy? It's not Randy. Wes? Neil? No. Oh my gosh. Dude, I'm sorry, guys. It's going to drive me nuts. Like, let's give the man credit where credit's due, right? Him and I don't have the same flavor, but he's he's way more mellow, but wait, am I allowed to look at this? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember it. I'm sorry that I'm taking the time to do this, but let's give this guy some credit where it's due, because I can't remember his name. It's making me nuts. What is this dude's name? I don't remember his name. Is it Wes? Dude. Oh, I put Rockstar. That's why I'm like, wait, where's all the videos at? All right. Oh my gosh. There he is right there. It's this guy right here. I can't think of his name. Not him. I don't even know that one. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm allowed to look at videos, but it's that guy. I can't think of his name. It's going to make me crazy. It doesn't matter. We're moving on. All right, but good looking on that. In 2021, he put me onto the entities first. And we tested it, and it was effective. Now, things have changed over time. You know, clients, customers, and everybody. It's always, what have you done for me lately? Right? You can't just, like he had one. I don't, I don't know anyone else that's going through the new stuff, but yeah, that was good, man. That was good stuff. Anyway, I digress. Let's move forward. Will Google rank authority sites for anything? Now, let me see how many people are here. Hopefully I lost some people when I was looking for stuff, right? Best advice for real estate SEO. Erwin Solis. That is my bread and butter. And we're doing a thing right now. So 20 people. We're going to move this to the internal section. I'm going to go over this one quickly, but this proved out to us, at least, as long as you're authoritative, Google will rank you for anything. If your asset is authoritative enough, it'll rank you for anything. And the same rings true. We ran another line of testing very recently, looking at authoritative resources and submitting yourself to submitted authoritative resources, as opposed to optimizing for AI overviews. Like, is it authority or is it perceived value? Like, does going after that knowledge panel and getting your photos and posting your stuff all over and creating, same name domains and going through all this work to try to get your pictures in there, or just buying your way in? Is it pay to play, or can you go the other way? You're right. Like getting your knowledge panel and filling that out and going through all those steps. Does that actually hold value, or is it just buying high authoritative assets? Does that actually help you rank more than being perceived as an expert? Do I need, really what I'm saying here is, do I need other experts, right? Authoritative assets to say I'm the expert, or can I go on the web enough and say I'm an expert in order to be perceived as one? And what we learned from that line of testing is we had two separate test types, actually 5, but I only shared 2. One of them was Mark Randolph from Netflix, and he has a blog. And he is an expert, in my opinion. He's the co-founder of Netflix, okay? He's an expert in startups and businesses. He has a blog. He wrote books. He has all kinds of stuff. Do you think his stuff ranks? Nope. Also, in the dentistry market, because I wanted to look at service businesses, there's a gentleman. He created Invisalign, okay? His name's like Rachi or something like this, some weird name, right? Well, weird to me. Like, it's not like Chris or John, right? So it's a unique name to me, all right? No disrespect. But with that being said, he created Invisalign. He's the inventor, the creator of Invisalign, but it gets better. Not only that, he also owns a very, very large cosmetic dentistry firm. But he wrote books. He's the inventor of Invisalign. He wrote books, he has blogs, and he's in the service businesses. Do you think that his service area businesses get boosts? And do you think his blog posts get boosts? Nope. With that being said, let's look at this test. All right. So you got a bonus there because you're live with me and I'm in a good mood, right? But will Google rank authority sites for anything? Now I'm going to go over this very quickly, okay? Because this is You remember those DVDs, Too Hot for TV? This is just too much. All right. But I'm going to give it to you anyway because we're here together. All right. The long story short of this is we created a conversation inside of text using a tool called ZimWriter. Matt's a great guy, by the way. All right. I'm not promoting his tool. We don't use his tool anymore, but I love him. And at the time, we were using ZimWriter. Okay. With that said, actually, I take that back. We're using ZimWriter for our PBN posts, internal PBN posts. Okay. So in any case, it's not money content, but it's good for PBNs. Anyway, that doesn't matter about this test. We created conversation using ZimWriter. So using AI, we created a conversation. All right. We went to an authoritative source. In this case, it was a Google group. I updated it right before to prove to my members that, hey, this is how we did it. I went into a Google group, I posted it, and we took first position. Will Google rank anything as long as you're authoritative enough? Yes, they will. Moving forward, does adding schema help your indexation after the helpful content update? Excuse me one moment. I need to get a drink. Oh, what's up? What's up? What's up? I'm doing a stream. All right, so please give me a moment, and you guys can have this room back. All right. Yep. This is kind of cool. Look how they give you water. It's pretty cool, huh? Wait a minute. It's got a little... Dude, is it me or does that have like a little hue to it? It had a seal. I bought bottles. Hold up. Oh, the most famous lady in India right here. Dude, when you're driving from... I was in Mumbai, I was in Pune, and I was in Delhi, New Delhi. So New Delhi, Pune, and Mumbai. In all of those places, this lady is everywhere. I don't know who she is, but I wish I could. Hey, can I get in with you? You need SEO? Anyway, the SEO test is, does adding schema help indexation after HCU? All right. So there's been many updates. I think that Google reported, take that with a grain of salt, that they do 7 to 13 updates, probably 13 updates a day on the search engine algorithm. Okay. I think AI is making more than that per day. They're adjusting based upon social engagement and interaction. And AI is making decisions for them. But with that being said, that's my humble opinion just from what I see from other testing. But when we're looking at this particular test, what we were really trying to uncover was, can we still save clients money by using geo-modified content? That was really what we were trying to find out. And this is the test that uncovered the formula for getting a high indexation rate of essentially geo-modified content. It plays huge into entity usage, but in code. So in any case, we had a site that one of the ones that we tested on was a website from a friend of ours. Again, remember, we test things 3 times. This is just the one that I'm sharing. So we had retirement pension planning, financial advisor, retirement planner, and wealth management. I was also at the time creating my own WordPress plugin in order to almost like a WP Zinc type tool. But with AI, I thought to myself, there's no use for this. In any case, we created 4 main templates. What I mean by creating a template is no matter what cities or state you're in, I'm talking about being in the United States, you go to a state that you're operating in and you find the hardest place to rank. For instance, if you're in California, one of the hardest places to rank is Los Angeles. So you make your template with the optimization for Los Angeles, right? So I have, arguably the best optimization. So once I have a template, you create 4 templates for each, wherever you're targeting, one for each key term. So I had 4 actual unique pieces of content, and then I geo-modified them 50 times because we had 50 states. So I went to the hardest city of every state, and then I geo-modified the rest of the content. Okay, you with me? Okay. Now, we made 200 pieces of content from 4. One for retirement pension, one for financial, one for retirement, and one for wealth manager. When we created this, and this is just a tidbit to show you the quality of the content, okay? When we created these, there are some others there too. Again, I just took a screenshot. 145 out of the 200 indexed, all but 50. But wait, Chris, you created 200. That's right, we did. We also learned here, if you take a look or feast your eyes on retirement pension planning and retirement planner, to Google, these are the same thing, okay? If you have a page that's optimized for retirement planner, you can talk about retirement pension planning to support retirement planner, all right? In any case, what we learned and how we were able to achieve this was by creating schema, unique schema, and having a unique image, a unique embedded image, mind you, but a unique image for each of the pages. Unique image, unique schema. This isn't one type of schema created for every page and you just embed it. No. We outlined the web page, navigational elements, organization, the images, the same as, and we followed the hierarchy for this particular type of business. So we go to schema.org, figure out what hierarchy is going to be best for your page type, right? What industry are you in? And we followed that to a T, and we created, with the help of AI and a spreadsheet, we created unique schema for each of the pages. And we had a exceptional, if you take away the blunder on my behalf of the test setup, right? We had 100% indexation rate. All right. And this was right after the update when everyone was having trouble indexing. Boom, we figured it out. And I brought this to my mastermind members, and we were ahead of the curve on this one. All right. So there you are. Moving forward, will external views rank YouTube videos? Does boosting brand terms influence organic terms? All right. Does boosting your brand terms influence organic terms? Do 301 redirects pass a penalty? All right. So the reason why this is valuable for you, and I think, was this in the other, I think I might have shared this before, but does 301 redirects pass a penalty? The long story short, we had an asset that had a penalty. All right. It has a manual action. As you can see, what we are trying to uncover here is that one of our strategies was 301 redirects. This was at the time that Google and all the gurus were saying that 301 redirects are devalued, they don't work anymore, yada, 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 right? So I wanted to see, if I'm 301ing, will I get credit for the links? And if I'm buying expired domains that I can't see that they have a penalty, right? Even if I plug it into Search Console, I'm not going to know at the time of buying. So I need to know, not only will the link show up, but am I going to pass a penalty when I'm acquiring these assets to 301 to client websites? Can I catch a penalty? There was no better way to this message to an end user than 301 redirecting. I 301 redirected a penalty to my own website to see if it passed, and it did not. This not only did I get credit for the links, but I also did not pass the penalty. And that was how we proved that. So with that being said, to add on to that, now that we know that we can acquire assets, right? with being hurt. And yes, it is true that the potency of sites, it used to be, hey, go on to Empire Flippers, or better yet, go on to Flippa, right? Go on to Flippa, find a site that was doing numbers, 301 it to you. What I mean by doing numbers is it has a lot of referring domains, it has a lot of links, and it's getting a bunch of traffic. Take that asset, make sure it's category specific, and 301 redirect it to your asset, and your site will take off. Those days are over. So with that being said, yes, the gurus and the powers to be are right in that aspect, that it's not as powerful or as easy as it once was. But armed with the knowledge of knowing that the penalties aren't going to pass, what about the power? So we had a client that was in a particular market. We won't talk about that here, but they're in a tough market. They were in a free fall. I took a picture here. All right. If you take a look at that red dot, okay, that red dot is when we acquired client. Okay. They were, when I met, see the peak, they were going up. Like they thought their strategy was, they thought they were the Dundada, right? Like they thought what they were doing was on, right? Because they went up with a particular type of strategy. I won't throw the agency under the bus, but a very well-known agency. Very expensive backlinks were purchased, okay, on a monthly basis. But they thought they were the kings. They dumped, right? You can see, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. They started buying from said agency again, went back up and dumped again. They can't have this. They're a business. A business, to build trust and authority, means that you have to be consistent, right? So they had enough. So I don't mean it this way, but so they came in, we had a talk, okay? And I said, well, you're in a free fall. I was like, let's give something else a try. All right. What I want to try is I want to acquire the best links for the best price. I'm going to point them to not the pages that you want to rank, but to the rest of your website. You're going to have a large amount of backlinks come in, as you can see, 182,000, 6,000 referring domains. But while those other links are coming in, you're also going to pick up some of the best links in the world. Forbes, New York Times, The Guardian, Yahoo, CDC, Mashable, all Business Insider. If you think of a site, CNN, if you think of a site that you want, I guarantee you we acquired it. Okay. It might have went and then fell, but we had it. And what we were able to do is we were able to take this business out of a free fall. And I don't know if you see this or not. Oh, wrong one. I don't know if you see this or not, but we got them out of the free fall. And then as we started building more and more links in, they started to jump back up before my contract was up. I had a mission. Okay. I had a mission, and I just had to stay on the course of time for 90 days. Because that was when they were acquiring links previously and getting just trampled with price, just getting smothered. It's one thing I hate about this market. Just because you can doesn't mean you should do that to a business owner. But in any case, my personal opinions don't matter to fact. So my contract was 90 days. We did what we said we were going to do. We got them out of a free fall. We got them the best links that they could ever imagine. And we got a traffic increase. Contract was over. This was performance-based. This was very expensive. All right. To do it necessarily is not expensive, but to get the result was. Okay. So with that said, moving forward, we already talked about this particular test here, and then I was showcasing some of the results We don't work on this site, but this was just some of the results from mid 2024. I already went over this strategy when we were talking about the entities, and we utilize this to this day. 2 to 3 seats of agency impressions plus driving directions produces a map pack ranking. All right. I think I had 10 of these in here. I think I trimmed it down to 2, maybe even 1. All right. I could literally show you 360 businesses that are in the map pack that we work with or have worked with, but not everybody is kosher with me blasting them across the internet. So, and plus I don't boast. I just move forward, right? The problem with running a business though is the people that are unhappy are louder than the people that are. But with that being said, and you can't make every customer happy. I can't get to every customer. I wish that I could. I digress on that. You can with better process, and I'm increasing my productivity and processes over time. With that being said, though, our results are very, very good and oftentimes very, very low on cost. Enough about me. Moving forward, another result. When I met this guy, this was a good one. This pressure washing company in Surrey was working with a $750 a month Google Maps expert, and we turned this guy around in less than a month. I mean, I get this a lot, to be honest with you. I'm just saying. And there's a big difference. If you're paying $500 a month, $600 a month, $1,000 a month for posting and Google Maps and optimization, dude, that's ridiculous. But if having those 2 meetings a month and having them at your beckoning call is worth an extra $1,000 a month, then so be it. That's fair. But if results are what you're after, the formula we already talked about for this test, we have a winning formula, right? Moving forward to the next test, which is, does link power pass through internal links? Now, I want to put a caveat or a layer on top of this test, and the layer is simple. In order to, other than just ranking results, we need to have a barometer or a gauge in order to gauge, we need a metric, right? I can look at results and say, oh yeah, there's a difference here. So what I did for this test here is I outlined 2 separate ways to look at this test and the results. The 2 ways that we're looking at this is, one, through a barometer or numbers. The second way is looking at a real world example of the implementation and seeing the effects for yourself by looking at traffic and traffic performance. All right. So when we're looking at gauges or barometers, we have to come to an agreement on the barometer, right? Barometers or gauges or metrics that we all agree on are MOZ, right? We probably agree on Majestic, we agree on SEMrush, and we probably agree on Ahrefs. The barometer that I chose that was agreement amongst everyone was Ahrefs in this particular instance. With that being said, what we're looking at here is, does link power pass through internal links utilizing the barometer of UR? So what we're doing here is we have 4 separate examples, 2 separate sites with 2 separate pages. What we're doing is we're building links to supporting content to see that through internal links, does UR increase? Does internal links pass power? If I build links to supporting content, does it boost the rest of the site? Does it help? If you feast your eyes onto the orange line, that's the traffic line, okay? Also, let me just outline it real quick here. I think it's green. If we look at the green line and you look at the orange line, all right, most notably the green line, does UR pass through internal links? Can I pass power through internal links? In case 1, case 2, case 3, and case 4, the answer is yes. Now, here's what makes it even better. There's DR and there's UR, okay? DR is the overall rating. UR is page by page. What we also learned is not only does power pass through internal links, but overall page's authority also passes through links. So when I build to, say, page number 3, you have website.com/primary service/service type /supporting content. If I build a supporting content, the UR of each page and every parameter increases in UR, increases in power. So I can actually not only influence the page that I'm pointing to, but I also influence every page that's in the structure, all the way up the line. UR, not DR. The barometer of choice, again, is with Ahrefs. Now, in order to further emphasize this point, we had another client. Now, I already, the testing and the results and retesting again of internal links, A tags, word choice, word usage, variation usage with internal links, and where you point links to. I've tested this so many times, it'll make you vomit, okay? But with understanding of, hey, I can point links wherever I need to, and I can pass power through internal links. And how you pass power through internal links is by utilizing key terms, aka anchor text. Now, you don't just use singular anchor text, and some people might even mock or poke fun and say, hey, if you point 2 links to the same page or 2 internal links to the same page, that's not doing anything. I disagree highly, and I have tests to prove it. But with that being said, let's just say that you understand testing, and I'm not making this up. I test these things, right? But let's just say that you are in full understanding that 2 links from one page can pass to another page, and way to maximize benefit is by varying anchor text. Then this would be wildly true. So what we did on this particular site, and I think I even made a video when we were doing this, is we have 3 sections of a website. Again, this comes from a test, all right? The first time somebody told me that there are sections of a test or sections of a page and they hold different weights was Kyle Roof. Kyle Roof told me that in 2019, because I was one of the first members in his testing group. When Dory and him had a little testing book, I even got a binder sent in the mail, dude. Snail mail. Anyway, within that testing there, I want to point out here that I also tested that, yes, his very early testing, I think that testing that he did was 2013. That initial testing, or 2011 maybe, 2000, I think him and his brother, he said him and his brother were testing. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he's right. It's true. Now, Google over time has put in equal weights on head and foot. All right. At his time of testing, he would tell you that the body is number 1, then the head, then the foot. In my opinion, the body is number 1 and the head and the foot are of equal value. The head actually holds less weight because clients perceive it as spammy when I have numerous keywords in the top. So with that being said, the footer holding the same, maybe a tenth less, is just as valuable as the header, and it doesn't tick off the client. So I like the footer. I like it a lot, actually. With that all being said, I want to point out to you that there's the head, foot, and body. When you have these 3 sections within a page, you optimize your heading tags utilizing key term and key term variations of high commercial intent keywords and their variations. And you're pointing to pages that make you money, okay? But you don't just point once, you point 1, 2, 3 times. Now, in this particular screenshot, I'm showing you 2 sections using varying anchor text, pointing to a lot of times the same flipping page, just saying it in a different way. Now, Chris, why would I say it in a different way? Not only am I better optimizing the page for key term and key term variation and density, but I'm also able to answer each of the intents with better AI understanding answering different personas online through key terms. You know how like the fancy pants guys will say, hey, or gals will say it's topics, not keywords. What they really mean to say is that it's intent, not keywords. And how do I showcase intent to a robot? Because they don't understand people or nothing. How you do it is through key terms and key term variations. So I can answer different intents by searching for the same thing in a different way. It is keywords, not topics. With that being said, what we did is we got all of the key terms and variations and variants that matter. We pack them into the 3 key sections that matter the most, and then we influence with external links. So we have internal links pointing to what matters, telling Google, hey, this is important. Then we have external links pointing to the main page, which powers the entire website, saying, hey, you know what? This is important. Then in the sidebar is your body. I chose to make this in a separate section in order to emphasize its importance and also to showcase to you the body is counted, or the sidebar is counted as body. Fun fact, that same person that copyright stroked my video had the audacity to say that the sidebar is not body. This particular individual has not read HTML, and that's unfortunate for him, but I promise you, my friends, that this is the body section. I digress. So again, using key term and key term variations to answer intent is the goal. With that said, when we take a look here, when we take a look at clicks and impressions, we can see with proper on-page optimization and A tag usage, we are able to take our clicks from 1,048 to 3,019. Doubled the clicks. Looking at impressions. Impressions are potential clicks. That means you're on your way, right? With more optimization or more links. And what did we do here? Doubled this. This drastically influenced this gentleman's business. And what this gentleman was after was to turn down his ad spend. Unfortunately, his understanding of external links, we did not see eye to eye. There's something called customer conditioning. When a customer is conditioned to look at factors that actually don't play a part in overall rankings, it really hurts a relationship, because I won't argue. I'd rather just part ways. With that being said, category of link is more important than overall traffic. On top of that, referring domains in a category is more important than traffic to the overall website. If your overall website is in, let's say the category is mass media, and that website is getting 1 million visitors overall, that is less valuable to me than a site that has 1,000 referring domains that are in the arts and art craft category. This is 1,000 referring domains in the category that you and your competition are in. And on top of that, the page that your link is on is receiving traffic for the same keywords that you want to rank for. That is wildly more valuable than a site getting, I don't care if it had 10 million visitors. That's the overall traffic. Overall traffic does not influence page rank. I don't care what anyone says. On top of that, if my site is getting less traffic, but it's hyper relevant, and all of the links are hyper category specific, and on top of that, my link cost is 1/10 of what you were paying before, I'm your friend, not your enemy. On top of that, I doubled your clicks in less than a month. Anyway, this is a good man, and he he does not know. He does not know that I actually had his best interest at heart. but customer conditioning can go either way. That's why I'm here. Category of link is wildly important. On top of that, traffic can be helpful, but see how you increase the power of a link is by increasing the propensity for a link to be clicked, right? So that would mean if traffic were to have any type of impact on a link, if you look at and read the patents, then that would tell me that the propensity for the link to be clicked would mean that the page that is getting the traffic could potentially have more power than a page that isn't getting traffic. If you have a site that's getting 1 million visitors and all those visitors are going everywhere but the page that your brand new post is on, that's not valuable. It's not valuable, my friend. Also, on top of that, when we're looking at, let's say that site had 10,000 referring domains. That's great. But it also had 356,000 external links. My site only had 12 external links. You don't know what you're looking at, brother. You just don't know what you're looking at. I assure you that I was giving you fire. And I mean, look at it speaks for itself. Anyway, moving forward, do RU links hurt rankings? Now, I don't know if I gave up the site. I did not. I took it out. Did I take it all out? I did. Good. RU links. The reason why this can be valuable is, again, we're always trying to reach the goal of value exceeding cost. It's actually in my culture. It's in our agreements that we're signing for our new company. It is our culture. It is our motto. Value must exceed cost. Okay? .ru links. Do they hurt rankings? I want you to take a look at this right here. This is 152 referring domains that are .ru. Something that I cut off and something that is very interesting. Just because it's .ru does not mean that the site is hosted in Russia. Okay? I digress. I want to further point out that if you have an over-exceeding amount of foreign links as opposed to your overall American links, and you're an American company, this can be detrimental to your overall performance. But when you're working with a skilled SEO professional, or you're a skilled SEO professional, you can look at .ru websites and also look at the IPs and the hosting country and come to a realization that my overall percentage or diversity of link profile is still well within the lines of the overall top performers. What do I mean by this? When you look at the top performing websites, they don't only have USA links, they have a diverse mix. Well, if you take a look at the overall USA links, let's say there's 1,000 links and 300 of them are going to be USA. That's 30% USA, 70% foreign. Well, there's your guideline for success when it's coming to external links. The reason why this is important is because I need to be able to fit the mold. I need to look like everyone else. It's an algorithm, right? So with that being said, and with those caveats being placed on top, or that information given to you, I didn't just blindly buy 152 RU links. I didn't just go to the first guy slinging links on the corner and say, yo, over here on my client site. No, I meticulously combed through the links, found the highest performing links with the least amount of external links on them, except for this top one here, right? There's low external links. A lot of the sites, even though they're .ru, were not hosted in Russia, right? But everybody and their brother is buying up these RU links, and they're not looking at these particulars, but we are. There's a difference. You throw two steaks on the table. There's a difference between, USDA prime and Kobe beef, right? You know what I mean? We all see the same thing through different eyes. All right. So with all that being said, do RU links with your newly found knowledge, are they harmful to your site? If you take precaution and you know what you're looking at, will they harm your site or will they help you? Well, let's take a look at some results here. So July's keywords, the top 100 we're only looking at. Okay, you can look at overall traffic and overall keywords too, but let's look at the top 100 keywords, and then you can also look at the top 3, right? How many of them went up to the top? So starting out, looking at July, we had 17,911 overall key terms, all right? With that being said, 723 of these keywords were in the top 3. Now, after our campaign, because we didn't just whack the site, but July, August, September, right? A 90-day run, right? I do things in bursts. This is called a campaign, right? We did a campaign. This is with a law firm client. It's a prominent law firm in DC, to be honest with you. Very, very well-known law firm in DC. In any case, I cannot share their name, right? But what I can tell you is that on October 1st, after our campaign, we saw an increase from 17,911 to 19,465 overall keywords. When looking at the top 10, we went from 723 to 947. On top of that, if we looked at overall organic traffic increased, top performing key terms increased, and overall keyword performance increased. And I took it out. I had a screenshot, but I think it had their name in it. I don't know if it was in this one or in the final, but looking at their performance from the next 90 days, they just continued on that trajectory. Sorry. I think this is the last test, and that'll finalize this for today, and I'm going to go have some breakfast. But does Google strip metadata from your Google business profile images? Again, here's what's fun. This same dude, remember this guy? This guy's been harassing me. I don't know why. I really couldn't tell you. Like, I didn't even know his name until it was brought to my attention that he was a figure, right? I thought it was just another dude, right? Another sheep, another sheeple out in the world, right? I didn't know. But this particular individual, a very well-known service, a very well-known blog, right? A fixture in the community, right? A thorn in my thumb, but again, was spouting wrong information. With that brand out of the way, right? This is 3 times I proved this person wrong. I wasn't trying to, by the way. Like, I only found this out recently. That's why it's bothering me, I think. I love people. I try to help people. The last thing I need is somebody, if I'm rowing a boat, every time I help somebody, that means a person jumps in the boat and helps me row, right? Think about this. So I'm rowing, and I'm like, hey, extend your title tag. That guy jumps in the boat. Oh, good. Whew, I needed some help, right? I help this guy. Oh, backlinks. Dude, you want to get category specific. Get in this boat. And we're rowing. Then you got a guy over here, or a company, a large brand, way bigger than me, screaming with a megaphone, casting shade, producing rain clouds, making waves. I got guys jumping out of my boat now. I'm rowing. Wait, where are you going? And then come to find out, you're rowing that boat, and that boat's sinking. In any case, with that being said, does Google strip metadata from your Google business profile images? So we went out and bought a tool, one of the premier tools that was out on the marketplace. I saw it featured in courses and trainings. That's why I chose this. Plus, a very good friend of mine, his name is Darren. I won't give you his last name, but he let me utilize the tool. He had access. He's like, Chris, I got that tool. I'm like, really? Let me use it, bro. He's like, no problem. Right? So what we did is we filled out every single piece of information with our URL, chrispalmer.org. Okay. Now, what we were looking at is we looked at videos, Google Photos, maps. This was a 10-part test. The one I'm sharing with you is the images specifically, because this is the one I get the most questions about. Okay. And that's why I decided to choose this one. So 100 pieces of metadata, EXIF, XMP, all different types, map coordinates, any single thing. I think there was 120 different injections, okay? We even did it with the mobile phones. Like, dude, this was a 10-part series, dude. We sat and tested all the different things for a whole month on this particular topic. So when I tell you that we went to the earth's end to get these answers, I assure you. And it's almost the same case depending upon where you're looking. All right. Does Google strip out the metadata? Well, with knowing that there was 130 placed, here's the actual file type. You can see that some of them, artist, software, copyright, image description, right? There's 9 sections out of 120 that Google doesn't strip from your meta details. With that being said, do you see anywhere in here where it references location? Also, there are character discrepancies where you can't put a lot in there. Okay. Also, I want to point out that the pieces in which that are getting showcased here, all right, and again, we filled them all out, are EXIF information. This only describes the image, and XMP, the tools that created the image. What I'm getting at here is, yes, 9 out of 130 stand, but there's character limits, and the most crucial and critical pieces that you would think would help are stripped from the image. And even if you wanted to put information, you can't put enough to make it worthwhile. Plus, the amount of time it would take to do this is obscene. So, do they strip metadata? Yes, but not all. Is it worth the time, the effort, the budget, the resources? No, because I'm limited by characters. And on top of that, it's not even the sections that I wanted. Most flipping notably, I can't put location details in here. Not in the correct section. Plus, on top of that, we've done other testing as well. In order to really hammer this home, we've done it with mobile phones. And if you want to actually get a benefit from metadata, the way that it is procured is by utilizing multiple other profiles, your customers' profiles, most notably, hopefully, from their cell phones inside of their reviews, or as you are doing jobs. As your phone is at a job, your customer's phone is leaving a review and taking a picture. If your phone time and that time that that picture was taken collide, that's a valuable metadata that could be included inside of an image. I hope that helps you. Moving forward, is page age the number one factor? This is the last test, all right? This, again, there was a lot of scrutinizing testing. And this test actually comes from, here, we'll describe it. I want to point out here that we went to WordStream, pulled out the most costly niches: insurance, loans, mortgage, attorneys, credit, lawyer, donate, degree, housing, claims, conference call, trading, software, right? What's the most expensive keywords, and what are the biggest cities? Why are these two pieces of information important? Well, we wanted to know in the biggest cities for the hardest keywords. What we were really looking at, and where this piece of where this testing and why this testing came to light, is because what we were looking at, does traffic to your links, is that the deciding factor for rank? And what we did is we pulled out the top 10 from the top hardest niches in the top 10 hardest cities. We were looking at links from lawyers, insurance, loans, mortgage brokers, attorneys, claims, hosting companies, not really hosting companies, but all the hardest niches in the hardest cities. And we looked at 1,000 sites to see, does traffic to links actually matter? And what percentage of links actually get traffic? And you would be astonished, but that's where this test comes from. And that information is definitely classified. It's in the group, but that took me dude, I think it took me 2 weeks to read through all that and get through everything, get all the answers and lay it out into a PDF. It took me 2 sessions. That's 2 weeks. And no, I spend 1 hour per day personally working on stuff. That's not to say team members, other people in the group, but every single day, 1 hour a day, it's on my flipping clock at 12 o'clock noon. After my client consultations, we work on testing. Then from testing, we go to clients and we do clients. But what I'm saying is I worked on this for 2 weeks straight, and I don't take days off. Sunday is my usual day off, unless I'm away and traveling like today, okay? I digress. With that being said, yes, we learned a lot about the links, but what we also learned was when you're looking in the hardest niches, in the hardest cities, personal injury lawyer, car accident, chiropractor, dentist, DUI, rehab, mortgage broker, lawyer, rehabs, some of the hardest cities, LA, Dallas, Fort Worth, Miami, Phoenix, Houston, San Diego, San Antonio, Philly, Atlanta, right? Again, we had 100 separate sites that we analyzed, okay? So 10 of the top in the hardest cities and the hardest niches, and here's what we found. I just crammed everything together here, but look at the age of the sites. And we were going into Wayback Machine to look at internal pages, and this is when I uncovered the number one factor that nobody talks about: page age. We're looking at domain, but what I found and uncovered after I went into Wiki or Wayback Machine was the page age of the winners on average is 3 years. So, is age the number one factor? More importantly, is page age the number one factor? Absolutely. And look at the domain ages here. My name is Chris Palmer. Soon, Gray Hat SEO. We also have services at seo.chrispalmer.org, consulting at chrispalmer.org, testing group at seomastermind.org. Education and courses are also there at the SEO Mastermind. And of course, if you're utilizing tools or doing anything, you want to stay safe, secure when you're scraping, creating profiles, or just having fun, proxypixie.com is the solution for you. Again, I am Chris Palmer at 570-810-1080. I'm in India today, so don't call me today, but maybe after the 18th. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, and it's going to wrap it up for me today. And we take a look here. Yeah, I have a pet peeve about collars. See how this lays flat? You can tell that this is a new polo, right? If these curl up, I throw the shirts away. I like my collar to lay flat. It makes me insane. And if it curls up, it's over. I'll throw the shirt away. Now, you learn a little bit about Chris every day, don't you? He digressed. Oh, I was digressing all over the place. I digress. You like that? I love you guys. You are a fan. You're funny. You are a fan, Chris Palmer fan. I can tell because you know how to make me laugh. He's going to have to digress. Oh, you guys are just having a flipping ball, aren't you, in that chat? You like that, huh? Digress? I'll use it more. I digress. I'll see you guys later. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, orange shirts and polos. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. I digress.